What's the score? Why visual music scores might be a good fit for autistic music students. A Continuum approach essay. Black background, coloured line, visual processing, autism and open scores. For many autistic people, perception is not a neutral backdrop, but an active, often intense experience. Visual information arrives with weight, texture and emotional charge. Where neurotypical design often assumes that white space is calming and clarity lies in brightness, autistic perception frequently responds in the opposite way. High contrast white backgrounds, dense notation and visual clutter can overwhelm the nervous system, creating cognitive fatigue before any meaningful engagement begins. Black or dark backgrounds, by contrast, reduce overall luminance. They quiet the visual field. Instead of light flooding the eye, forms emerge gently, with edges that feel contained rather than invasive. For many autistic individuals, this reduction in brightness lowers sensory load, allowing attention to settle rather than scatter. The background recedes, and what remains becomes deliberate. Colour, when used sparingly and intentionally against a dark background, takes on a different role. Rather than competing for attention, it becomes a guide. Autistic perception often favours pattern recognition, relational thinking, and continuity over symbolic abstraction. Colour coding supports this by providing immediate, non-verbal structure. It does not require translation into language or rules. It is understood directly. In this context, coloured lines are not decorative, they are functional. A green line may suggest continuity, growth or grounding. A red line may suggest intensity, alertness or change. These associations are not fixed or prescriptive. They are experiential. The performer does not need to be told what the colour means. The nervous system responds before conscious interpretation occurs. This is particularly important in musical notation. Traditional scores demand layered decoding. Pitch, rhythm, articulation, dynamics and expression must all be processed simultaneously, often at speed. For autistic musicians, this can create a bottleneck where cognitive effort eclipses listening. The act of reading becomes dominant and sound becomes secondary. Line-based graphic scores reverse this hierarchy. A single line on a dark ground removes symbolic overload and restores temporal flow. The eye follows the line as it would follow a path, a gesture, or a breath. There is no requirement to translate the image into correct notes. Instead, the image invites a response. This kind of visual language aligns closely with autistic strengths. Many autistic individuals process information holistically rather than sequentially. They perceive movement, contour, density, and change as integrated experiences. A continuous line that rises, falls, thickens, or fractures can be understood immediately as motion, tension, release, or stillness. The performer is not asked to remember the rules, but to remain present. Black backgrounds further support this mode of engagement by removing visual noise. There are no margins to manage, no staff lines to track, no competing symbols. The image floats in space. Attention can rest on it without effort. This creates a sense of safety, which is essential for musical risk-taking. When the nervous system feels safe, listening deepens. When listening deepens, expression follows. Colour coding also supports memory without pressure. Instead of remembering instructions, the performer remembers sensations. The green section felt expansive, the red section felt charged, the thin line required restraint, the spiral invited immersion. These memories are embodied rather than verbal. They remain accessible, even when executive function fluctuates. Importantly, these scores do not demand eye contact, rapid decision-making, or social interpretation. They can be engaged with privately or collectively, without hierarchy. In group settings, this removes many of the social stresses that autistic musicians often experience in ensembles. Everyone follows the same image, but each response remains individual. Difference is not corrected, it is expected. For autistic adults in particular, this approach offers a rare permission to make sound without performing correctness. There is no wrong tempo, no wrong pitch, no failure to keep up. The score does not judge, it simply exists. This reduces masking, allowing the musician to respond as they are rather than as they think they should be. These line scores, along with other image-based scores, are therefore not simplified versions of traditional notation. They are different epistemology altogether. They prioritise perception over prescription, sensation over symbol, and presence over outcome. In doing so, they create a musical space that is accessible, dignified, and deeply expressive for autistic musicians, and often, unexpectedly, liberating for everyone else as well. Copyright 2026, Sarnia de la Mare, The Continuum Approach.